Hello there, I'm Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. In this video, I want to take a look at 3 stocks that I think are very much worth our attention in the market. One, incredible mover today. Another one, incredible mover recently, though, stumbling a little bit. And the next one is going to have some very big movement very soon. And each one of them, I think, is very much worth paying attention. I will say that the markets today, incredible movement. The Nasdaq up over 1.5%. The Dow Jones up about 0.5%. And then the S&P 500 up almost a full percent. And so I guess rally on, as they say. My long positions, absolutely loving it. The short hedge position, boy, oh boy, did that get thumped. I downsized a little bit of it in that process, although I didn't want to liquidate all of it just in case we get a little bit of a pullback. I think I could still save a few dollars from that. So I think that timing is going to be a bit of a part of that. So we'll see if I can time it well. So I do want to just take a quick look at what we have coming up, and then I'll get right into the stocks. So the very first thing that we had today was consumer inflation expectations, and I said in my morning video that if they came in below the forecasted 4.2 and they came in at 4.1, that we'd see some decent upward pressure in the markets. We absolutely saw that. In my video this morning was on the CPI, so if you haven't watched that and it's still prior to the CPI coming out tomorrow, make sure that you watch that and take advantage of the information that I have for you. That comes at 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday, June the 13th, and then on Wednesday, June the 14th, we get PPI following that, and then moving right along into Thursday, then we get retail sales data to see what the consumer's up to. What does that mean as far as the strength of the consumer goes? Are they still spending? We really want to hear about those retail sales. And then we also have a lot from Philadelphia Fed. We want to watch that. The next thing after that is Michigan's consumer sentiment that comes out on Friday. So it's a big week for us, and we could expect some decent volatility. And then did I forget to mention the FOMC meeting? Oh my gosh. We do also have to find out whether or not we're going to get that rate hike, and that could take a lot of these sharp gains that we've seen recently and cool them off a little bit in the near term. We'll see if it's either a sell the news event or maybe the Fed throws a bucket of cold water on us. We're going to have to wait and see if they show us that, or maybe they give us all green lights and maybe we rally on a little bit further here. Maybe the bulls have a little bit more momentum to go before they rest for a little bit before the next leg up. Those are things that we're just going to have to wait and see. So let me jump right on over to Moomoo for you. So Moomoo, there is a link down in the description if you want to check it out. You can grab yourself some free stocks by using my link. That is down in the description. All right, so I switched around windows that are on my screen, and oh my gosh, it's really throwing me for a loop. The first stock that we're looking at here is SoFi, and SoFi had an incredible run today. They closed almost 12% up from their previous close just from Friday, and you can see, look how straight up that is on the chart when you look at here. I'll zoom in some more so you can see the sort of run that it's had recently. And I remember selling put options back here when we dropped back down below $5 per share. And that was nice to have that in my pocket there. I did not get exercised where I had to buy the shares off anybody, although I was perfectly willing to, because I would have been in at under $5 a share, which means I would have nearly doubled my money by the time I got that. Instead, I got some pretty much free premium just for selling those put options. So you can see where we're at now, and where we're at right now, like the call option premium on something like this, in order to sell that, if people think that we peaked out here and that we're going to pull back from that, wow. I mean, SoFi just has such incredible news. We came out of the debt ceiling stuff. We also have the end of the moratorium on student loans, which student loan payments will pick up either end of August, to maybe they become due then, but then end up starting to pay on those in September. So we'll see what that does, if anything, to the consumer. And I do think that is going to have a significant impact. I still haven't changed my mind about that. And I think some people are discounting it in light of all the momentum that we've seen. And I think there's also going to be some rotation looking for value in the market. I think we're seeing that throughout the month of June. And I think that's why some of the big tech stocks aren't moving as much as we would want them to. And I think that's one of the reasons why Tesla is moving the way that it is. So for SoFi here, I'm an investor in SoFi. I did buy more of it today. I also sold some call options today in order to take advantage of this big spike that we saw. And it's an area where I think that I'm going to be able to keep a hold of that premium. And, we see just a little bit of softness going on before we get there. So with that said, I think that we have a hard resist on SoFi at about $10. I think we'll smack off of that and we'll settle down a little bit before pushing forward. I don't think that it's something that we're going to fail to break overall. I think that it's just something that's going to cause us trouble to break in the near term. So I do want to say that. And as, like I said, a SoFi investor as I am, I want this thing to go to the moon anytime soon, anytime in the somewhat near future. We'll see how that plays out as they come out with their earnings and see if they really do turn profit positive, that they actually get to have an EPS rating coming out sometime soon where they have some actual earnings per share to talk about by the end of the fourth quarter. So we'll see if they put that out for us. I do think that we have hard support coming in for SoFi at about $8 per share. And so we'll see if it does settle, pull back to that level. And maybe I close out, buy to close some of my options that I sold, my call options that I sold on this, and just buy to close those at a much cheaper rate. And then maybe, rinse and repeat should we get another run up on this. All right, I said 3 stocks. There's SoFi. The next one is our friend Tesla. And the big thing about Tesla, which, by the way, actually, I'll go back to SoFi for just a minute because there's something interesting I want to make sure I mention. And wouldn't you know, I didn't mention it. We actually got a golden cross moment on SoFi, and that was all the way going back to, there we go, there's the golden cross moment, and it failed. Why the heck did it fail when we had such great momentum coming out of that? Well, I guess the banking crisis would be one of those things that would cause us to have that sort of weakness. And then with bonds and the Fed possibly raising rates more, there was just a whole lot of just doom and gloom going on about SoFi. And so the price just, we have it selling off. Well, then what happens? Debt ceiling resolves. There's more faith coming back into the banks. They have excellent news coming out from them. They just got a price target upgrade from $8 to $11 per share. And so we have a lot of green lights going on for SoFi. So we see a lot of green in the market for SoFi. And we finally get a golden cross moment, as minimal as it seems. I think that now we're finally on the bullish side for SoFi, as long as the market also continues to provide its support to keep us moving in that bullish direction. I think the sentiment on the market is there to keep the strength going for SoFi, where we don't go back under $5 unless something catastrophic happens for SoFi itself or for the market itself. In the meantime, I think, whoa, my goodness, I think that this momentum keeps on going. All right, so enough of that. Let's move on to Tesla. And Tesla, I mentioned in my morning video this morning. I also mentioned a few days ago in the Discord. They can access through my Patreon. Link's also down in the description for that Tesla's about to have its golden cross moment. And actually, Tesla had a time that we got faked out back here that, let me see, when was this? End of September 2022. Tesla almost had that golden cross moment, and then the market just kept on dumping. Tesla kept on dumping, and well, we know what happened after that. The last time that Tesla had a golden cross moment, let's go back here, takes us all the way back to 2019. Look at this sell-off that Tesla had and the horrible time that it was having, and then all of a sudden the earnings came out here. I think this may have been when they went earnings positive, when they actually went into positive EPS territory. They had their golden cross moment and then just took an absolute rip from there upward all the way up until we get into late 2021. 2022 was bad for the whole market, and you can see the sell-off that we were at. We were finally solidly back up above the 200-day, which is a very bullish sign with a golden cross coming up. So even though Tesla, I think, might possibly, given the run-up that it's had, I mean, look how much just straight up action we've had. I think it is possible that we start to pull back on that a little bit. And before we start the next leg up on that, I don't think that we break it back down below the 200-day anytime soon. I think we stay above that, and I think the 50-day, as it crosses over the 200-day, is going to start offering us that support. And just like I had for SoFi, I have this here for Tesla for you. I think 300 is going to be a pretty hard resist for us, and I don't know when we see that. It really depends on how much the market keeps on pushing forward. What have been the results of Tesla starting to advertise? Are we still seeing the same demand coming from Tesla? How able are they to move the vehicles? What about their energy storage? How's that going? The Tesla supercharging with GM and Ford, that's going to be incredible. Even if it doesn't pay out right away, it is going to be something that allows Tesla to keep building up their moat and keep charging forward as champions. And I was so glad that I was able to snag a few shares of Tesla back when it was under 160. It didn't quite hit the 150 that I was hoping for, but still I bought in on that weakness, and it's paid off handsomely going up to almost $250 a share. I do think that 218 is where we could possibly find that support and rest a little bit while before we start to make that next leg up. And really, the next push, I think, is when we solidly break 250 and make that charge on to 300. So that's what I believe for Tesla. Now, the next stock doesn't have a golden cross moment coming up to it. However, it is one that is absolutely worth your attention right now. And I can't tell you to buy or sell anything, and I wouldn't. I don't know your situation or your story, but look at this. And I already have the support and resist up here for you. This is C3AI, and you can see the volatility that it's had, and that makes it a wonderful options play if you're looking for somebody who really wants to ride that volatility, whether you're doing a long strangle or you're doing a long straddle on something like this, or maybe you solidly believe that this thing, given the volume selling off that way that it has and this narrowing that we have here, maybe you believe that it's going to break downward. Then buying some put options on something like this, maybe we have enough volatility dropping, the implied volatility dropping enough to actually make them reasonable premiums to buy. Last I looked, they were pretty darn expensive. It made it really difficult to make any sort of profit off of something like that. Maybe you're somebody who's more into selling those options. So maybe you're an investor, for example, in C3AI, and you don't want to get rid of your shares. You believe this is going to drop. Well, selling call options, it could also be one of those winning things for you that could make you some premium, allow you to hold on to your shares because you expect it to drop in the short term, allow you to buy to close that a little bit sooner. You know, that is all up to you. And if you guys want to hear more about options, we can talk more about options. If you think this thing's going to rip higher from where it's at right now, maybe we do go back and retest that 44 from where we currently sit. We got about 20% movement on this thing as it narrows. This thing's going to move. It's going to rip. And I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that in here. SoFi, I'm an investor. I love SoFi. Tesla, I'm an investor, and I love Tesla. C3AI, I just don't know enough to be an investor. I don't follow them well enough. I have used them as a volatility play for options over and over again. And this is another time that if the market is kind enough to wait for me tomorrow to actually make up my mind and make a decision, if I had to put a guess on this, I think we'd sooner see 30 before we see 44. I think that we have a little bit of that hype dying down, a little bit of that pullback we'll see. And, you know, a lot of it can depend on market bias. Maybe the market pushes us up higher. You know, maybe NVIDIA puts out some big news and maybe AI pumps again. But I really think that this is going to drop down, hit that 30 mark. I have no guarantees. I have a magic 8-ball. It's, how do I point to it? Other side. There it is. If I can... I'll get this right. I'm not coordinated. There it is. Magic 8-ball. I can ask that thing and we can find out what the Magic 8-ball thinks is going to happen with it, but there's still no guarantees. It's been wrong in the past. It'll probably be wrong again. I also do, look at that getting better. That's my new Infinity Gauntlet. We just assembled that, me and my wife and daughters. We just put that together at the dining room table today. So I don't know if you're a Marvel fan or not. I was at least up through the Infinity Saga, and I'm kind of waiting for them to get back to that moment where they really start to put that power back in. So a little bit of a side note. So there's something, I don't know if it's a thing or not, I call it the Dragon Ball Z effect, where you have a powerful character, and I'm going full scale nerd on you right now. You have a powerful character, and they just keep on fighting the next strongest thing in the universe. Strongest thing. Sometimes I feel like Marvel's doing a power down cycle and not letting characters be as strong as they could be or as cool as they could be, kind of pulling back from some of the superhero fatigue that might be out there. And, you know, you can have your feelings about Disney and Marvel and all that, but I really think that it's good to have that power down cycle. So that way we don't have to worry about keeping on, like, upping the ante with the next film. So even though this could be kind of a boring time for Marvel, in my opinion, maybe they'll come back. Back to the market, though. SoFi's been run up a lot. Like, I did buy more today, but I'm an investor in SoFi, so dollar cost averaging is part of what I do, but buying on green days isn't typically something that I do. I think that we will see a little bit of softness in that. I think Tesla will also show us sooner than later a little bit of softness, especially if it's going to take a serious run at 250. The market can totally push these things higher because that rising tide raises all ships, or whatever the statement it is. We can certainly get that. And that can happen, but for them to do on their own momentous merit, I think is going to take a little bit of a rest so that the bulls can really keep moving the bar higher on each of those stocks. And then C3AI, as I was talking about before, it's just an incredibly volatile play that we have. It is a retail favorite, and you know there's a lot of buying and selling and movement in the stock in itself, and like there can be so much money made or lost depending on how you play a stock with that sort of volatility. But you got to be careful, because if there's big reward, there's also big risk to match it. So please absolutely protect your capital. You do not want to destroy your capital or blow up your account. That's terrible to see for anybody. So thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed my commentary and would like to hear more of it, keep looking for more of my videos as they come out. Hit the like button to show me that you like this video. Subscribe to show me that you would like to see more of my content. Ring that notification bell so that way you can see anytime that my videos come out. I do also have a link to the Patreon down in the description. You can get my Patreon exclusives and access my private Discord. And there's also those free stocks from Moomoo. Please don't forget them. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hit me up down in the comments with what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. I'm Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Take care now.